This is Dr. Jennifer Jansen from the Zepf Center. You're listening to JJ's Clinical Connection, connecting you to clinical topics. Join me as we take a deep dive into the world of behavioral health and learn about hot topics, innovative approaches, and top-notch professionals shaping our industry. Thanks for joining us. This November, we're celebrating Youth Hope Month, a time to raise awareness for youth experiencing homelessness and to highlight resources that provide security, support, and hope to young people in our community. Previously known as National Runaway Prevention Month, this annual observance underwent a rebrand this year to better reflect the broader issues currently impacting youth. Today we are joined by Charles Green and Kristen McKinley, two amazing staff members who work directly with youth in the Safety Net Shelter and through Zepf Center's Street Outreach program. In addition to sharing their experiences working with local youth, Charles and Kristen will detail the resources provided by these programs, uncover the realities of youth homelessness in our community, and share opportunities for local stakeholders to support this essential work. Stay tuned to learn more about the Safety Net Shelter's vital role in our community and join us as we celebrate Youth Hope Month. Well, good morning and welcome to the studio. Can you please introduce yourselves for our listeners?
Hi, my name is Kristen McKinley, and I am the Street Outreach Coordinator.
And my name is Charles Green. I'm the Safety Net Manager.
Great. Well, I'd like to start off with telling our listeners a little bit about what Zepf Center's Safety Net Shelter is, or rather what it does for the community.
So Safety Net is a 24-hour youth shelter. We serve ages 12 to 17 who either ran away from home, were kicked out, locked out, are victims or survivors of human trafficking, or need a safe place to sleep throughout the night, whether their families are homeless, sleeping in vehicles, couch surfing. Some may even be sleeping outside. It just depends on the situation. But anybody that's considered homeless or runaway, we serve those individuals.
Okay. So walk us through what happens when a youth arrives at the Safety Net and rings the doorbell.
So when a youth rings the doorbell, staff will go ahead and let them in. Any kid that rings the doorbell will automatically be let in. Staff will come in, get some basic demographic information from them, their parent and guardian information, their name, date of birth, and we'll go ahead and start an intake process. From the intake process, we give them a fresh new change of clothes, allow them to take a shower, get a good meal in. Depending on the time of day, we'll go ahead and get them into their room, get them nice and situated. If they want to take a nap, if they want to go ahead and just go to sleep for the night, that's also okay. Or if they want to join the rest of the kids, if we have any, that is also okay. We kind of just play by ear based on the case.
Yeah. And are there any qualifications for the youth, things that they have to meet a certain qualification in order to be a resident at the shelter?
No specific qualifications rather than just age. So 12 to 17 is the only age group that we can serve. So anybody under the age of 12, we'll refer to Children's Services, but anyone over the age of 18, we'll refer to Street Outreach or to one of the adult shelters in the area.
Okay, and you mentioned Street Outreach, and I know that that's why Kristen's here today. Kristen, can you tell us a little bit about the Street Outreach program and what that does for our community?
The Street Outreach program, basically, we partner with Safety Net, and it came on a grant in 2019 after Safety Net because for our community, we kept seeing young people, specifically 18 to 21, who were unhoused or couch surfing. And so we have a drop-in that we share with Safety Net, and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, young people from the age of 12 to 21 can drop in, get something to eat, get a shower, get some clothes, get resources. We can get them set up with a primary care doctor. So it's really great because we're seeing so many of Safety Net youth who have been there once or twice. They end up, once they're 18, they're either being kicked out or they're still couch surfing, and they've been couch surfing at a young age. And now we can provide those resources because there is no transitional youth housing for 18 to 21 in Toledo.
And tell us why November is a significant month for your programs.
So the importance of November is just to bring awareness to one of the most vulnerable populations in our community, kids or young people in general, who may have had a hard start at life. They're kicked out of their homes because of them being, gay or bisexual, trans, or because their family doesn't understand their mental health and it assumes it to be more of a kid acting out, not wanting to follow directions, rather than some serious issues that may be going on. So for Youth Hope Month, it's very important for us to bring awareness to the kids that may not have a voice for themselves and be that advocate for them.
Yeah, and it is a wonderful month. Again, like Charles had said, I think it's a great opportunity for us to make Toledo aware and where the young people can come and get those resources.
This year, National Runaway Prevention Month was rebranded as Youth Hope Month. HOPE standing for homelessness, outreach, prevention, and education. Why do you think this rebrand is important for the programs you guys run?
I think the rebrand is important so that we can highlight the programs that we have, both with Safety Net and Street Outreach, to show that there is hope, that we are advocating for young people, that there are resources out there, and that we are working very hard for our Safety Net clients and our Street Outreach clients.
For me, actually, Youth Hope Month is actually easier to say for most people, and it's actually easier to remember. So that's one thing that makes it a benefit. The easier it is to say, the more likely people are going to remember it and understand what it's for. Secondly, of course, as your shirt says, Youth Hope Month plays in part into exactly what Zepf does, instilling that hope into other people. But also it broadcasts the different aspects that pays attention to the homeless population, especially when it comes down to youth, whether they're homeless, or whether we're doing outreach, whether it's education or prevention. And so paying attention to those different aspects of this population and the work that goes into serving this population is very important. So that way, not one piece is being missed.
And I don't know that a lot of people really think about kids being homeless, but certainly the two of you do, because it's how you spend every day trying to help members of our community. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what kinds of things you're seeing when kids come to the shelter or when kids come to the drop-in center?
So some of the main things that we do see is families that are not willing to accept their kids back at the time because of some criminal activity they committed or accused of committing. Sometimes kids are not welcome back because of their sexuality. Sometimes kids are running away because of some kind of violence going on at home, and they're trying to get to the help. We also see a lot of kids that come in with substance abuse problems now, and that's been increasing from our perspective anyways. It's been increasing more and more as time goes by. So there's a wide variety of issues that brings our kids in, but we are also seeing a lot of families come in because they're on a wait list for a family shelter. There is I believe it was about 190 people last time I checked was on a wait list for a family shelter. So sometimes our families have to wait a couple months to get on the list, depending on their circumstances, to be able to get into a shelter. So during that time, the kids that are eligible based on their age feel more comfortable being here rather than couch surfing at random different people's houses, family houses, friends, and so forth. So as far as safety net goes, that's probably the more the reasons why people are coming.
And I think from a street outreach perspective, most of our clients are 18 to 21, and I would say 50% of them are from the LGBTQ plus community. And I would say all of them have struggled with mental health because of trauma. And that trauma is right in the home where they grew up from. So the sad thing is they're either being kicked out because of that. There's not an understanding of the mental health that they have. And that's why I like to be a part of Zepf. We're very lucky with our street outreach program because we can get them into these resources. Many of our clients have not seen a doctor in years. They have not seen a dentist in years. And to be able to offer that easily and help them navigate to be able to get those resources just makes it easier for them to move on. Just in the 2 years I've been here, we've been able to get many of our clients out of shelters, get them into their own apartment, or get them into a group home. And now we have been able to get one of our clients to be able to go on to college. And that was one of the biggest, I think, things that all of us celebrated. And to be able to offer that hope, our other clients also see that and they can know they can reach to different levels.
I'm just wondering if you see some unique challenges with homeless or runaway youth, things that would be different than adults in that same situation.
When we look at our street outreach, we say young people or youth, even though most of our clients are 18 to 21. When I was 18, I had support and I still needed that support to get through college. I couldn't imagine trying to navigate all of those things at 18 and they haven't had that support. So, we'll spend a day or two helping them fill out a FAFSA or helping them go over an apartment application or helping them be able to call a doctor on their own and also make them feel comfortable that it's okay to have some of those mental health challenges. And it's just like a broken bone. You go to the doctor, you get the help you need, and it's the same with mental health. So making them comfortable with that too is really important.
I think the difference will be their ability to tap into a lot of the resources that the adults are able to tap into. As a kid, of course, you can't sign a lease. You can't make some of the decisions on your own regarding your own medical health. However, I do want to be completely honest. A lot of our kids are really resourceful. For some of our kids, they've been on a run for a year and they're only 14. You have to be resourceful in order to still be here. And some of these kids still smiling and laughing after being on the run for a year or, living couch to couch for a year. So they're resourceful. They have their own connections, which we try to make sure we highlight when the kids come in. But there are some challenges as far as especially for our 17-year-olds who are right there at the edge of being 18 and still not much they can do until the day they turn 18. The downfall is safety net can no longer house them at that point. So then we do work with Cherry Street, and now we work with Street Outreach to make sure that they have the resources they need. So when they do turn 18, it's a smooth transition and not just a dead stop to services.
What are the other resources available for youth that don't meet criteria, either for safety net or for the drop-in center?
Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot for that population specifically. If they're under the age of 12, the only other option we have is to call Children's Services. As far as adults go, 18 and over, we're referred to Cherry Street Mission, Toledo Gospel Rescue, 211 to kind of see what other shelters they can get into. But the hardest group is the individuals that's under the age of 12. It's the hardest group to find resources for.
And I think for us with Street Outreach, we look at 12 to 21, but unfortunately, we're not able to always help that 12 to 17 because we need a guardian to be on support with that. And that makes it really difficult because we know that there is such a high percentage that we're going to see them again once they turn 18. And we can't get them those resources till they can be 18 to 21. But then I think a challenge too is just helping them navigate through shelters, because basically that they're going to adult shelters at 18 with people that are older than them significantly at those shelters. And so that's why the drop-in is so important Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because they can get away from the adult shelters and just be in a group of 18 to 21. And they've become a real family to each other. They watch out for each other at the shelters. We're able to connect them to each other. And then we've also networked with the shelters, and they've been amazing. So the minute an 18-year-old comes into the adult shelters, they give us a call so that we can bring them to the drop-in and have some kind of normalcy for their life. We'll have a Thanksgiving together. We'll have a Christmas together. And so Fridays, we typically have a meal together, and Ohio State Extension will come and teach them how to make simple meals, which I learn from too, because I kind of like these simple meals that they make, because I'm not very good with cooking either. So it's a great thing that we have, and to be able to work with the community and to work with our clients to connect them to all those things is really wonderful.
Charles, can you give our listeners a visual of what Safety Net Shelter is like for youth? Like, where is it? How many kids can you house? What kinds of things are inside the shelter?
So we are located on Ashland, 2005 Ashland. Our building is our entrance with the buzzer is under a big mural facing Woodruff Side Street. So anybody that comes in, once they press the buzzer, they're allowed in. We complete the intake process from there and start the care coordination from there. We have the capacity to hold 13 kids. We have 13 beds available, but we're not always full. Sometimes we have more girls than boys, and then so we'll switch sides based on that. And then we'll make accommodations just to make sure that we can accept as many as we can. But siblings, they get the room together if they choose to, or they can also decide to room separately. Half of the rooms also have a bathroom inside, so they're able to have that privacy as well, which is beautiful, especially if we have an individual who happens to be pregnant. They can have their own access to their own bathroom if they need to. Individuals who are trans, if they decide to, they also have the option to have their own bathroom if we have the space available. And if we're possible, we'll go ahead and make the arrangements to make everybody feel as comfortable as possible. We also have, we call it the lounge area. So that's where we sit, play games, watch movies, do board games, card games. It just depends on our mood. We have one of our therapists is a very good artist. So she'll do a lot of clay molding with them, painting. I'm not sure the other names of some of the other art stuff that she does, but the kids thoroughly enjoy, that art time as well. In the kitchen area, on the side of that, the same area that we share with Street Outreach, we call it the drop-in center now, but it has foosball, it has the pool table, it has computers there for them to use for schoolwork, for resume building, job search. So those kind of things, as if anybody comes in who needs to access the internet, we do have that as an option. For safety reasons, we don't allow cell phones or other electronics in the rooms with the kids themselves. But if they need to use the computer for school, we have access to those. If they need to complete interviews for placement, we have the ability to do so. So when they first come in, we are really family oriented. As Christy mentioned, we are family oriented. So we do eat family style. When we cook for everybody. So then we pass the food around, we engage in conversation, about their day or about the upcoming day, what, kind of things they want to see out of the day or how the day went, how was school, and kind of engage in that rapport building process, over a good meal. And then we also, we engage in life skill activities with the kids. So cooking, cleaning, and we hold groups about, healthy relationships, respecting boundaries, how to say no, consent, having those tough conversations with the kids. So we try to make it as homey as possible, but still trying to teach the kids as they come and as they go. Not all the kids stay for a long time, so we have to try and do a lot in a little bit of time, but we always keep that door open for them to come back if they need to.
And Kristen, give us an idea of what a typical day is like for you and your team in Street Outreach.
So if we're doing the drop-in on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we come in the morning, we get things ready. We might even plan what the young people will help us cook. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we reach out to the community. That's when we canvass. We will canvass sometimes at a school, or we will also canvass at the LRC, which is one of the areas at Cherry Street where anyone can sign up to be a community member and get something to eat. And we provide resources there. The biggest thing is we're always evolving. Where can we meet the youth? Where can we find the youth in Toledo? And since many of them as adolescents, all of us stayed inside. And so that couch surfing really has a big deal, but they may still come to the LRC. We also go to the libraries. That's a big place where young people can feel safe because they can use computers, the internet. So we'll find a lot of young people there too. And our libraries are really amazing in that way.
You mentioned the social media piece, computers, technology. I'm wondering how you guys use that to communicate out to the youth in the community or to help promote the services that you guys are offering.
We do have a Safety Net Street Outreach Instagram, and so we'll communicate any events that are coming up, where we'll be. Also reminders that Safety Net is 24/7, putting the number out there so that young people can get that information, because we know that they are definitely able to navigate through social media.
And then also just on the staff side, all of us on our own personal social medias, we see posts from TPD, Sylvania Police, Mommy, about any kids that are missing or that may have run away. So we do share that amongst the team to make sure that we are staying, aware of any potential kids that may be coming through, just to give our staff a heads up as well, but also be on the lookout for anybody, fitting this description or anybody, around this certain age. So we try to use social media ourselves to be on the lookout for us as staff for awareness.
And speaking of awareness, let's talk a little bit about the numbers. I'd like to get some of the data points from you guys. I know that this is an issue that is bigger than most people think. Can you tell us a little bit about the number of youth that you have served through the shelter and/or how many you're connecting with through the street outreach program?
So for the shelter, I believe last year the number was around 300 people that we served last year alone. So these are just 300 people from the ages of 12 to 17. It's not including the individuals that were under the age of 12 that unfortunately we were not able to accept, nor the individuals above the age of 18, however, under the age of 21, that we also could not serve. So that number would have been closer to probably around 400 to 500 if we were able to extend our age range beyond the 12 and 17 years of age. As far as now on a regular basis, we see somewhere between 20 to 30 kids a month, but it just depends on the month and how many people that we have. We do see some repeats. It's unfortunate that they have to continue to use our service. They're continuously, dealing with the battle of being homeless or runaway or being kicked out. However, it's fortunate that they feel safe to come back. It's fortunate that they feel comfortable being with the staff that we have. Our staff is amazing when it comes down to working with our kids and, providing that guidance that a lot of the kids actually want. Our staff actually listens and engage with the kids and allow them to speak their truth. So when kids come back and they're repeats and they come in, we get to have that history with them and kind of continue to build from there. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time for them to feel comfortable being here. Some kids have actually cried because they had to leave, which again, is a good thing and a bad thing, but as far as the numbers go, again, it's about 20 to 30 people a month that we serve 12 to 17 years old.
Krista, what are you seeing?
When I first started, we didn't really have, about 2 years ago, we didn't really have clients. So the biggest thing was for us to get out in the community. And now I would say on average, last month we had 24 clients that we were working with who were homeless, couch surfing in the ages of 18, 20 to 21. 10 of them were probably repeats, if you want to say. I don't think a lot of people are aware, but usually it takes 6 to 9 months, even a year, before you can get stable housing for anyone that is homeless from 18 to 21. So these young people are usually in a shelter from 6 months to a year before that we can be able to get them stable housing. And so it's a long process. And so during that time, by having the drop-in, it allows them to have a little stability. And since we do have many clients that have been part of Safety Net also, when they see one of the Safety Net employees, it really helps them, because I know, just like Charles said, it really is a family environment, and I think it's a stable force that they haven't had in a long time.
Let's talk a little bit about how these two programs are funded.
So Safety Net, we have, I believe it is 9 different grants that we operate under.
That's a lot of grants, Charles.
It is. It's a lot of grants, a lot of reports, but all those 9 grants goes to helping, our kids that we serve. It's not a cheap thing to do in a 24-hour shelter, to have, at least 2 staff all day long, at different times of the day. So it's a costly thing, operating a shelter, but it's one that we definitely take on and tap into the resources that we do have to be able to make it possible. One of our biggest grants is with the federal government, where they do provide, it's called a Zepf Center grant that, we apply for I believe it's every 2 years that we apply for it. And we've been receiving it over and over again. And it just goes to show how much this is needed in our community, and the constant need for an agency to serve that vulnerable population.
And I think the hardest thing I find is that any of the young people that go to Safety Net, or that then we have at Street Outreach, none of them made those choices to get where they're at. So that's why I am so thankful that we do have several grants from the community and from the federal level to be able to provide these resources.
It's a lot of grants, but does this really cover the full scope of all the services you guys provide?
No, it doesn't. No. When we think of a 24-hour program, you don't think of some of the engaging activities that goes along with it that also cost. With adults, it may not be as needed as much, but when it comes to kids, 12 to 17, keeping them engaged, keeping them active is a big part of what we do. And a lot of the funding that we do receive doesn't allow us to utilize it for that purpose. Even if it did, I don't think we will still have enough with staff coverage, the basic needs of the building itself, the shelter itself, the updates, and all of those other, I want to say, obvious costs that goes associated with the operating a 24-hour shelter, but it doesn't operate, the whole thing fully. I think we still came up short almost $30,000 in the previous year.
And as we wrap up today, I imagine some of our listeners may be thinking to themselves, gee, I'd like to contribute. What would you like the community to know? What ways can they support either the Safety Net shelter or the Street Outreach program?
I think some of the biggest things that we use that aren't covered under the grants is gently used clothing for the young people. So anybody can donate. If you're cleaning out your closets with your teenagers, that's a big thing. Things that people don't think about, like even undergarments, is a big thing. And then also hygiene products, because that is something that we're constantly giving survival bags for young people. Whether it's in the schools, the libraries, they will contact us and say, can we pick up some hygiene bags? So we're offering that because adolescents are embarrassed and they don't want to say that they're not having those resources.
Also, as we mentioned before, not all of our grants cover everything. So if an individual wants to donate anything, money-wise, they're able to do so at zepfcenter.org/donate. And then they can support Safety Net and Street Outreach monetarily if they choose to. But just to reiterate off of what Christy said, support doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be materialistic. It could be, spreading the word about the resources that we have, giving us a call to ask us information to pass on to a kid, even dropping a kid off if they need a ride to Safety Net. Support can be anything, coming out to our future events if you choose to. But any kind of support, awareness, any kind of spreading the resources, spreading the love around will definitely be beneficial. And you can always give us a call. 419-206-0926 is the main safety net number. But you can also call the main Zepf number, 419-841-7701, to be able to get directed to our office directly.
Oh, that's wonderful. I want to thank both of you so much for coming in today and
Thank
sharing
you.
all the information about these programs.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in for another powerful conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to download and share it. For the latest clinical connections, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. For more information about Zepf Center's safety net and other resources mentioned in this episode, check out our show notes. For more information on Zepf Center, visit us at zepfcenter.org or find us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Until next time, this is Dr. Jennifer Jansen signing off.